A merchant had 2 children, a boy and a girl, both of whom were young and could not walk yet. He had 2 ships doing sea trade. That was his entire fortune. Sea trade often made a big profit, but unexpectedly he heard that both boats were sunk. From being rich, he now became poor. His remaining assets were just a piece of field on the edge of town. To relieve his sadness, he went to the fields and walked back and forth. Suddenly a small black person appeared, stood right next to him and asked, "What is wrong with him that makes him look so worried and sad?" Uncle said, "Can you help me with anything?" "Let me tell you." The little black man replied, "God knows." "Who knows, maybe I can help." The merchant recounted how 2 merchant ships and all their goods and assets sank to the bottom of the sea. Now only this field remains. The little man said, "Don and number 39. Be sad anymore. If you promise me one thing, you will have as much money as you want when you get home. Whatever touches your feet first, after 12 years you must bring it back to me." The merchant thought to himself, "Surely that could not be different from my own dog." He didn't and 39 think about his little son at all, so he immediately accepted the invitation, immediately signed a contract with the little man and went home. Seeing his father come home, the son was so happy, he found his way to the chair and hugged his leg. The father was startled and frightened when he suddenly remembered what he had just committed. But time went by and he didn't and 39 see any money in his trunk. I thought, maybe the little people were joking. A month later, he went up to the attic to collect some tin to sell, but it was no longer tin, but gold coins. He was very happy, used that money to do business and became rich, even richer now than before. The merchant and number 39's son grew older and bigger, but the closer he got to 12 years old, the more worried the merchant became, and that worry appeared on his face. One day, the son asked his father what was so sad. The father didn't and 39 want to say it, but his son kept begging, so the father had to say, "He told me that he once promised a black man, Tiny, that if he became rich with the help of the little man, then he would also be willing. Ready according to the conditions requested by that person. I signed a contract with that person. 12 years later I will give the little person whatever touches my feet first." The son said, "Dad, Don and number 39 worry. Everything will be fine. Black people have no power over you." The son came to ask the priest to bless him. At the appointed time, both father and son went to the field outside town. The son drew a circle, then father and son stood in that circle. The black man appeared and told the father, "Did you bring what you promised me?" The merchant remained silent, but his son asked, "What are you looking for here?" The black man replied, "I have something to say to your father, not to you." The son said, "You deceived my father. Now let and number 39's erase those vows." The black man said, "No, I Don and number 39 give up my rights." The two sides exchanged words for a long time, and finally came to an agreement. The son does not belong to anyone. Neither does he belong to the father nor does he belong to that black man. It will sit on a boat parked along the river. The father used his foot to push the boat out into the middle of the stream, letting his child drift with the current. Saying goodbye to his father, the son got into the boat. And the father pushed the boat out into the middle of the stream. The boat somersaulted. The father thought his son was dead, so he mourned. But the boat did not sink, it just drifted along the water. Finally it stopped at an unfamiliar station. The young man went ashore, saw a magnificent castle in the distance, and immediately went in that direction. When he entered the castle, he saw that the castle was enchanted and all the rooms in the castle were empty. He walked forever, then reached the last room and saw a snake curled up in there. It was actually a girl under a spell. She saw him happy and said to him, "Did you come to free me? I and number 39. They've been waiting for you for 12 years now. This whole country is under a spell. Please free me." He asked, "What should I do?" "Late at night, 12 black men with chains around them will come here." They asked him what he was doing here. He remained silent, not saying a word. "They will torture you, beat you and stab you, so just leave them alone. Just Don and number 39. Open your mouth to speak." At exactly 12:00 and number 39 clock at night they left again. The second night, 12 people arrived. On the third night, 20 people will come and behead you. But every midnight their magic expires. If you try to keep them from tormenting you without saying a word, you will be freed. I will take a bottle of revival water and massage it all over your body and you will wake up and be as healthy as before. The young man replied, "I am willing to free you." Everything happened exactly as she said. Black people can and number 39. Trust you for a word. On the third night, the snake turned into a beautiful princess, and used revived water to massage him to wake him up. She hugged him and kissed him. The whole castle became joyful. The wedding ceremony was held and he became king of the Golden Mountain. The two happily lived together. The queen gave birth to a handsome baby boy. 8 years have passed. The king missed his homeland and wanted to visit his parents. The queen did not want to let the king go, so she said, "I will suffer if you go." But the king insisted until the queen agreed. When saying goodbye, the queen gave the king a magic ring and advised, "When you put this ring on your finger, you just need to pray for it and you will immediately reach the place you want to go. But you must promise not to use it to take me back to your father and number 39's place." The king promised, then put the ring on his finger, praying for him to return to his homeland. In a moment, the king returned to his hometown, but the guards saw that he was wearing strangely luxurious clothes, so he did not let him enter the city. The king had to go to the shepherds, change clothes for them and calmly enter the city wearing shepherd and number 39's clothes. Returning home, the king confessed his name to his biological father, but he did not believe that it was his son. He always thought it was dead. Before his eyes, he was now just a poor, pitiful shepherd. He planned to give alms a tailor coin to eat. The shepherd said again, "I am your son. Parents, do you still remember any marks on your child and number 39's body?" The mother said, "Yes, my son has a mark like a strawberry on his right arm." The shepherd boy lifted up his sleeve to show his parents. It was true, there was no doubt about it. Then he told his parents that he was now the king of the Golden Mountain, had married a princess and had a very handsome 7-year-old son. Dad said, "That will never happen again. A shepherd with dirty clothes standing here is the king." Hearing his father and number 39's words, the young man became angry, forgetting his previous promise to the queen. He turned the ring, wishing his wife and children would come right to him. In a moment, his wife and children arrived. But the queen cried and blamed her husband for not keeping his promise, making her miserable. He said, "I am number 39. Am so heartless, please forgive me." She calmed down, but inside she was not happy. Then he led her to the field by the river, where he got off the boat in the past and said, "I am number 39. Am so tired, please sit down and let me lie down on your lap to sleep for a while." He laid his head on her lap and fell asleep. Waiting for him to fall asleep, she pulled the magic ring from his hand and slowly withdrew her leg so he could lie down again. She held her child and prayed for him to return to his country. When he woke up, he found himself abandoned. His wife and children were gone, only his shoes were left as a mark. He thought, "How can I go back to my parents? Everyone thinks I am number 39, am trying to scam them and take things away." He had to set out. At the foot of a mountain, he met 3 giants arguing about how to divide the inheritance left by his father. Seeing him, they called him back for arbitration. They say, younger people are smarter than them. The inheritance consists of 3 things: sword, shirt and boots. When the person with the sword shouted, "And quat," all heads fall to the ground except mine, and quat. The wish came true in the blink of an eye. Whoever wears the shirt becomes invisible. Anyone wearing a pair of boots can go wherever they want. He said, "Give me those 3 things to see if they have those abilities." They gave him the shirt. As soon as he put it on, he became invisible and turned into a fly. Then he appeared as a human again and said, "The shirt is good. Now give me the sword." They refused. Afraid that when he shouted, "And quat," all heads will fall to the ground, except mine, and quat, they would lose their heads and he would be the only one left. But they set a condition that he only tried using the sword to cut trees. He tried cutting the tree, but the tree broke like someone punishing grass. Then he told them to give them their boots. They refused, saying that if he put on his boots he would have gone very far in the blink of an eye, so they could only stand and watch. He said, "If that and number 39's the case, I won and number 39 t judge anymore." They had to give him his boots. Having all 3 treasures in hand, he now only thinks about his wife and children. He prayed to the mantra, "I wish I could return to the Golden Mountain." So right after that, he disappeared and also decided to divide the inheritance between the 3 giants. When he arrived at the castle, he heard the cheerful sound of a flute. Everyone said that his wife got married to someone else. He got angry and said, "Damn you. It deceives us while we sleep and then leaves." He put on his invisibility cloak and entered the castle. When entering the large room, we saw a large, sumptuous banquet table with guests eating, drinking, and chatting happily. His wife wore a crown and sat on the throne in the middle. He came and stood right behind her without anyone seeing him. Whenever he puts food on her plate, he eats it immediately. And the wine was poured into her glass, and he also drank it all. She was given food and drinks all the time but still could N and hash 39 t eat or drink anything, everything disappeared. In the blink of an eye. She became frightened and embarrassed, stood up, went back to her room to cry, but he also followed her into the room. She sat and talked to herself, "Is there a demon haunting me or is someone coming to free me?" He slapped her and said, "Is the person who liberates you coming? That person is above you, traitor." I was treated ungratefully by you." Then he appeared in full human form, went to the large room and said loudly, "The wedding party is over, the king himself has returned." The kings, lords, and courtiers present there laughed and mocked him. He said a short sentence, "Are you coming out or not?" Everyone rushed to arrest him. He pulled out his sword and shouted, "All heads fell to the ground, except mine." Immediately the heads separated from the body and fell to the ground. He was the Lord again and was once again crowned King of the Golden Mountain. Thank you for joining us for today's fairy tale. We hope these stories bring joy and meaning to your day. If you love our channel, please hit the subscribe button so you won't miss any exciting tales. Wishing you a good night and sweet dreams. See you in the next story.